Welcome back. This is the ninth episode of the Painted Privacy video series, and I'm the artificial avatar of Luca Bolognini, European data lawyer and essayist. In this episode, we'll talk about smiles, portraits, modesty, and reputation. I often smile to myself while writing. You can admire in the lower right corner the famous Eros's Smile by Caravaggio, almost as famous as the Mona Lisa's, but less enigmatic and more brazen. First, it is worth mentioning that smiling figures are rarely found in antique paintings. Smiling was seen as something corrupt, a provocation, scandal, or sacrilege. In the upper right corner, you can see the cherub's cheeky grin as he playfully, and rather inappropriately given the tragic circumstances, touches the spikes on the crown of thorns beside the dead Christ in the Pietà by Annibale Carracci in the National Museum of Capodimonte. Surprising, shocking, and puzzling. Baring one's teeth like Caravaggio's Eros was considered outrageous and the height of indecency, far more shameful than full-frontal nudity and close to our modern concept of pornography, or something only commoners or the lower classes did. It would have been unthinkable for heroes or for the nobility or the aristocracy. And when it came to paintings of real-life individuals, things were even worse. Not only was it extremely rare to find smiling portraits or self-portraits, but as a rule, paintings tended to show faces that were solemn and surly, that is when they weren't downright devastated and wretched. Why? As Nicholas Jeeves reminds us in an entertaining article from 2013 in the novel Nicholas Nickleby by Charles Dickens, published as a serial from 1838 to 1839, the portrait painter Miss La Creevy says, "People are so dissatisfied and unreasonable that 9 times out of 10 there's no pleasure in painting them. Sometimes they say, 'Oh, how very serious you have made me look, Miss La Creevy,' and at others, 'Ah, Miss La Creevy, how very smirking.' In fact, there are only 2 styles of portrait painting, the serious and the smirk, and we always use the serious for professional people, except actors sometimes, and the smirk for private ladies and gentlemen who don't care so much about looking clever." And this was already well into the 19th century. Before then, serious portraiture reigned supreme. In my book, The Art of Privacy, I dedicated a chapter to the distressing self-portrait of the elderly Donato Criti, and I admit to having been almost disrespectful towards him. Nevertheless, here he is again, in the lower left corner of this video. As Jeeves notes, until the advent of mass photography, portraiture offered a unique opportunity to leave a decent image of oneself to others and to posterity, an angst-ridden opportunity as it cannot be repeated. A smile might leave an everlasting impression of stupidity, mental imbalance, fickleness, or vain frivolity. Better then to opt for the reassuring doctrine of an austere, severe, or even gloomy gaze. Instead, the deluge of photos that we have today, in the all-digital era, while arguably excessive, allow us to be represented in a way that is less static and incontrovertible. In a succession of cinematographic frames, we can compose in life and leave to posterity a variegated collage of smiles, grins, frowns, scowls, and happy or sad looks that will combine to form our overall image. The right to be forgotten, Article 17 of our European Privacy Regulation, aka GDPR, is a last resort after all. We can choose not to destroy or delete what portrays us only partially, but to supplement it until we get a result that better fits who we feel we are. Let me end by sharing a secret. See in the upper left corner the Giovanni Battista Moroni's portrait of a 16th century lawyer, preserved at the National Gallery in London. It inspires me to confess my fascination with the media tactic of an excellent colleague from Milan. Despite having a decidedly upbeat personality during award ceremonies, and not a year goes by that he isn't a recipient, he walks up on stage with a grim look on his face, as if some catastrophe had struck, and he holds that serious expression until he comes down off the stage, when he goes back to smiling again, a true artist of law and self-representation. Who is he? Name the sin, not the sinner, as the saying goes, but some contemporaries may have sussed it out with the help of reverse L diversity re-identification techniques. Thanks for following this 9th episode of Painted Privacy, and see you next time with Luca Bolognini's artificial avatar.